Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with John Kay and Sally Newton. Good morning and highlights today. Showdown on sleaze. The Prime Minister faces questions in the round over MP's second jobs. Are you feeling the print pickers from snacks and drinks to utility bills and the price of petrol at the pump? We are all paying more somewhere. We get the latest inflation figures a bit later. Are we speaking to businesses and customers here in Ojiram? And good morning. Coming up in sport, the fallout from a damning day for English cricket. As the regime brevet excuses the sport of being institutionally racist. And we will speed light to the queen of the kitchen disco, Sophie Alice Pastor, as she enters the last few hours of her 24-hour dance of song for kitchen in need. Good morning from Kew Gardens. We are here to see the illuminated Christmas trail, which opens to the public today. It's a chilly start whenever you are. Some clear skies, some sunshine, but clouds going to peel from the west, bringing some first, some rain later. I'll avoid the details later on in the program. Hi there, good morning, Wednesday the 17th of November, and out of story is that the Prime Minister's plans to tighten the rules on second jobs for MPs are going to be debated in Parliament today as the row continues over sleaze. It follows weeks of mounting political pressure after the former Tory MP Owen Paterson was found to have broken lobbying rules as a paid consultant. Our political correspondent Helen Catt reports. The Prime Minister has a tough day of questioning ahead as he tries to throw a light under the sleaze allegations which have dominated Westminster for the last few weeks. Yesterday, he announced he would support banning MPs from working as paid political consultants. At the exact moment, Labour was holding a press conference calling for the same. Labour's talking the Prime Minister's move off as a win, but it would still like to see a wider ban on MPs having second jobs, except if it's for a public service like nursing or working as a doctor. The government wants to focus not on what MPs do, but on how long they spend doing it. Boris Johnson said he would back changing the code of conduct to put a reasonable limit on MPs' outside activities and punish those who neglect their duties. Exactly what's being proposed is miles away from where the government was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they were talking really about watering down the current system. Now they are talking about not only tightening the rules, but putting that in the hands of system as it currently exists. But it's Parliament, not the government, which actually sets the rules for MPs. So the detail would have to be worked out there if it goes to a head. And some conservatives aren't concerned, the consequences aren't clear. I'm very cautious on this because I know that some of my colleagues have jobs and outside work that they do, and that means them having to give up. Changing at that time, we have to be careful about this. We have to realize that we are dealing with human beings who have families and responsibilities. So, whereas as I've said before, the first duty must be to Parliament, to constituency, into the work we do for our country. Any changes, I think, should be evolutionary. They will get the chance to quit the Prime Minister directly later. He is expected to address a gathering of his own backbencher this evening. Before that, he faces the liaisons committee of senior MPs, and before that, the Labour leader at Prime Minister's questions. Boris Johnson may hope the end of the sleaze roll in the sight, But there will be a lot more questions to answer. Before I get there, Helen Cat, BBC News, Westminster. Let's go live to Westminster and speak to our chief political correspondent Adam Famlin, who joined us on breakfast. Hi Adam. So the Prime Minister pretty hoping he can put his leader out of bed today, but he's got a lot to get through, hasn't he? Before he goes to bed himself tonight, a lot on. Oh yeah, it's a busy day where we're going to see loads of Prime Minister, as Helen was just saying. Prime Minister questions then he got the liaison committee, with its lots of the chairs of the parliamentary committees grilling him for a couple of hours. And then we understand he's going to go and speak to his own backbenchers this evening. And he will be hoping that this kind of poll move his down on second jobs. Some people might call it a bit of a change of position. We are trying to draw a line under this whole saga. I'm not sure if you though, because what will happen today is that a process will be started, where Parliament will look at its own rules. About second jobs, there will be more arguments about the pros and cons of various proposals. And then maybe in the new year, or maybe a bit later, there will then have to be a vote on any new proposals that will come forward on, and on those arguments will be had again, and who knows what cases and things will happen in Parliament in the meantime. Also, this has made those cracks, the Conservative backbenchers, even wider, because there are quite a lot of MPs who aren't sure about giving up their outside jobs because they think it's totally fine that they do them. They are worried about the ideas that have been put forward by both Labour and the Conservative Party and how workable they are. And some conservatives think that actually Boris Johnson had just bowed down to demands from Labour and he should have resisted them and he'll pay a political price as a result. So it's all quite a big combustible mix of things, which means the story isn't over yet, even though we're talking about this for more than 2 weeks. Indeed, Alam, thank you very much indeed. We are checking with Alam through the program, also going to be speak to Chair of the Common Standards Committee, Labour's Chris Bryan. And from the government side to the International Trade Secretary Anna Mary Tavelan a bit later. Now the UK's latest inflation figures will be out this morning and they will reveal how much the cost of living is rising. It comes as supply chain issues, higher energy costs, plus a shortage in the labor market have all pushed the price of consumer goods higher. Inflation slowed unexpectedly in September, but of course, August saw the largest increase in records began back in 1997. The Home Secretary Priti Patel has said the bomb explosion outside Liverpool Women's Hospital on Sunday is a reflection of a dysfunctional asylum system. Ms. Patel, speaking to reporters on a flight to Washington, said it was a complete merry-go-round, with the whole industry devoted to defending the rights of individuals intent on causing harm. It was revealed yesterday that the Liverpool attacker, 22-year-old Ahmadon Suleiman, was a failed asylum seeker. Health officials this morning warning of a heightened pandemic of antibiotic-resistant infections if people fail to act responsibly after COVID. That's according to the UK Health Security Agency, who say they should only be super prescribed when they are really needed. Last year, 1 in 5 people with an infection had an antibiotic-resistant one, although the overall number of infections in England did fall because of lockdown. Police border guards have used tear gas and water cannons against a group of migrants trying to enter the country from Belarus. Belarus has been accused of pushing migrants to the border to try and destabilize the EU. A charge is denied. There have been more than 5,000 attempts by migrants to cross into Poland from Belarus so far this month, compared to just 88 in the whole of last year. At least one person died and several others are missing after a violent storm caused floods and mudslides across British Columbia in Canada. Thousands of people have been forced to leave their homes with officials describing it as the worst weather storm in a century. Our North American correspondent David Willis has more. After a summer of wildfires and record high temperatures has come this. More rain in a day than people here are used to in a month. It left hundreds trapped in their cars overnight, served rail links to Canada's largest port in the city of Vancouver, and has cut power supply to thousands of homes. The rain has also brought with it mudslides which forced the evacuation of an entire town. Hundreds of people, many of them children, were loaded onto buses after being airlifted to safety from the town of Acuses in British Columbia. Others, meanwhile, have found themselves stuck inside with the floodwaters rising. We'll say we're a little bit above where the flooding is on occurred. And yeah, again, lucky that happened. And my uncle's house is under the water. My cousin who just finished having a baby in Kamloops 2 days ago, their house is totally flooded. They have nowhere to go. Across the border in Washington state, torrential rains and high winds have also been wreaking havoc, flooding roads and again trapping people in their cars. Some counted themselves lucky to have escaped, rolling down the windows and looking for the easiest way out, had to crawl through the passenger side because car ended up toweling with the driver's side towards the ground a little bit, so crawled out the passenger side and was able to get out, thankfully. The outskirts of Vancouver have now experienced both their hottest and wettest days on record within the space of just a few months. As in many other parts of the world, it's left people here wondering whether this is what constitutes the new normal. David Willis, BBC News, Los Angeles. Now the Cambridge Dictionary has revealed that its word of the year is perseverance. It's a bit weird, isn't it? But they say, well, yeah, because I thought they are talking about our perseverance as people, but in fact, they are saying that picked interesting when NASA Perseverance novel make its final descent to Mars in February early this month. Offers English dictionary too vast because we are spiking interesting in vaccine related words a spike. So what you dig very good.